Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes the greatest statement you can make is to say nothing at all. To step back, walk away, and let your absence do the talking. The essence of human connection lies in mutual respect, appreciation, and the recognition of each other's value. Unfortunately, people often fall into the trap of taking others for granted, assuming that their presence is guaranteed. This assumption, whether conscious or unconscious, stems from familiarity, a sense of comfort that leads individuals to overlook the contributions, sacrifices, and support of those around them. It is only when that presence is no longer available that its true value becomes glaringly evident. The absence of someone who once played a significant role creates a void, one that cannot be easily ignored or filled. This dynamic exists in various forms of relationships, whether personal, professional, or social. Think about a friend who has always been there for others, offering advice, encouragement, and a shoulder to lean on. Over time, their availability becomes expected, almost routine. Their kindness is assumed, their time is consumed without a second thought, and their needs are rarely considered in return. But the moment they step away, stop answering calls, or withdraw their support, the difference is felt immediately. The sudden silence becomes deafening, and the space they once occupied seems impossibly large. Their absence highlights just how much they were contributing all along. The same principle applies in romantic relationships. One partner might invest heavily in nurturing the bond, ensuring their loved one feels cared for and understood. They might go out of their way to accommodate the other's needs, often at the expense of their own. Over time, this effort can be taken for granted, with the other partner assuming that such dedication is a given rather than a choice. When the person who has given so much decides to step back, the reality of what they brought to the relationship becomes undeniable. Suddenly, their partner is left to face the emptiness created by their absence, a stark reminder of the value they once dismissed. In professional settings, the phenomenon is equally striking. A dedicated employee who consistently goes above and beyond their duties often becomes an unsung hero. Their contributions might not always be explicitly acknowledged because their reliability is so deeply ingrained in the team's functioning. Colleagues and supervisors might overlook the countless times they stayed late, solved problems, or provided crucial support. However, the moment this individual leaves the team, their absence becomes painfully apparent. Tasks that once seemed seamless now face delays, and gaps in knowledge or expertise emerge. The person who was once taken for granted is now recognized as the backbone of the operation, but only after they've moved on. This pattern can also be observed in familial relationships. A parent who tirelessly provides for their children might see their efforts go unnoticed, as children naturally assume their care is an inherent part of the parent-child dynamic. Yet, when circumstances shift, perhaps due to illness, distance, or other life changes, the absence of that parental figure's involvement can be deeply felt. It's only in hindsight that many come to realize the full extent of their parents' sacrifices and dedication. What's particularly intriguing about this phenomenon is that it often reveals how much people rely on the presence of others without consciously acknowledging it. Presence, in this context, encompasses not only physical availability but also emotional, mental, and even spiritual support. It's the quiet reassurance of knowing someone is there for you, the unspoken comfort of shared moments, and the security of consistent care. When this presence is removed, it creates a sense of imbalance, leaving those who took it for granted to grapple with the newfound void. The psychological impact of absence is profound. For those who are left behind, it often triggers feelings of regret, guilt, and loss. They may begin to reflect on their own behavior, questioning why they failed to appreciate the other person while they were still there. Absence has a unique way of magnifying the positive qualities of the one who has left, bringing them into sharp focus. This is why people often romanticize or idealize relationships in individuals. After they're gone, the mind latches onto memories and constructs a clearer picture of their true worth. It's important to note that this process of realizing someone's value through their absence isn't necessarily malicious or intentional. Humans are creatures of habit, and it's easy to fall into patterns of complacency. When something or someone becomes a constant in our lives, we tend to overlook its significance. This is not because we don't care, but because we become accustomed to its presence. Unfortunately, this familiarity can lead to neglect, with appreciation only surfacing when the familiar is replaced by its stark opposite, absence. Absence then becomes a powerful teacher. It forces people to confront the truth about what they've lost and why. It disrupts the comfort of routine and challenges the assumptions that allowed them to take someone for granted in the first place. In this sense, absence doesn't just reveal value, it amplifies it, making it impossible to ignore. People often find themselves yearning for the return of what they lost, but by then it's often too late. The opportunity to cherish, to reciprocate, or to simply say thank you has passed, leaving them with only memories and the lessons that come from loss. The power of detachment lies in its ability to liberate you from the chains of external validation and emotional dependency. Detachment is not about indifference or a lack of care, rather, it's a conscious decision to free yourself from the control that others' actions, opinions, or behaviors might have over your peace of mind. It is an act of self-preservation, a means of reclaiming your energy and attention from situations or relationships that do not serve your growth or well-being. By detaching, you are asserting your independence and refusing to be held hostage by the emotional turbulence caused by others. One of the most significant aspects of detachment is its ability to restore clarity. When you are deeply entangled in the complexities of a toxic relationship or an unhealthy dynamic, it becomes challenging to see the situation objectively. Your emotions cloud your judgment, and your desire for resolution or connection might lead you to overlook red flags or tolerate disrespect. Detachment, however, creates space both mentally and emotionally. This space allows you to step back, assess the situation without bias, and gain a clearer understanding of what is truly happening. It is in this state of clarity that you can make decisions that are in alignment with your values and needs. Detachment is also a profound declaration of self-worth. By choosing to distance yourself from negativity or manipulation, you are sending a powerful message to yourself and to others: you value your peace more than the chaos they bring. This is not an easy decision, especially when you have invested time, energy, and emotion into a relationship or situation. But detachment reminds you that your well-being is non-negotiable. It is an act of self-respect that demands others either rise to meet your standards or be left behind. Through detachment, you reclaim your power, no longer allowing external circumstances to dictate your inner state. Another vital aspect of detachment is the way it shifts the balance of power in relationships. When you are overly attached, you often give away your power, seeking approval, chasing after attention, or trying to control outcomes. This attachment creates a dynamic where your happiness is contingent on someone else's behavior. Detachment, however, reverses this imbalance. It communicates that you are self-sufficient and that your joy and contentment come from within, not from external sources. This shift can be both empowering for you and disarming for others, as it breaks the cycle of dependency that they may have relied on to maintain control. Detachment also has a way of revealing the true nature of relationships. When you step back and remove your emotional investment, you create an opportunity to see how others respond. Those who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries and make an effort to bridge the gap. They will show through their actions that your presence matters to them. On the other hand, those who were only interested in what they could gain from you will often fade away when they realize they can no longer manipulate or exploit your attachment. Detachment, therefore, acts as a filter, separating genuine connections from superficial or toxic ones. The emotional benefits of detachment are immense. It provides a sense of liberation, allowing you to release the weight of expectations and disappointments. When you are detached, you no longer feel the need to control or fix everything around you. You understand that some things are beyond your influence, and you make peace with that reality. This acceptance brings a profound sense of calm as you shift your focus from what you cannot change to what you can: your own thoughts, actions, and choices. Detachment frees you from the endless cycle of frustration and disappointment that comes from trying to force outcomes or change people who are unwilling to grow. Detachment also fosters emotional resilience. When you are no longer tethered to the highs and lows of others' actions, you become more stable and grounded. You are better equipped to navigate challenges and setbacks without being overwhelmed by them. Detachment allows you to face life's difficulties with a sense of equanimity, knowing that your happiness and self-worth are not at the mercy of external circumstances. This resilience not only benefits you, but also inspires those around you as they witness your ability to remain composed and self-assured in the face of adversity. In addition to its emotional advantages, detachment has a profound impact on your mental energy. When you are overly attached, your thoughts are consumed by the people or situations you are fixated on. This mental preoccupation drains your energy and distracts you from pursuing your goals and passions. Detachment, however, frees up this mental space, allowing you to redirect your energy toward things that truly matter. It enables you to focus on personal growth, creativity, and the pursuit of a fulfilling life. By letting go of what no longer serves you, you make room for opportunities and experiences that align with your true purpose. Detachment is not an act of giving up, it is an act of letting go. It is the recognition that holding on too tightly to something or someone can often cause more harm than good. By detaching, you are not abandoning your connections or responsibilities. You are simply choosing to prioritize your own well-being and refusing to be controlled by external forces. This decision requires courage and self-awareness, as it often goes against the societal narrative that equates attachment with love or loyalty. But in reality, detachment is one of the most loving acts you can perform for yourself, as it allows you to preserve your peace and protect your inner light. When you remove yourself from someone's life, the silence you leave behind speaks volumes. Silence, often underestimated, holds an extraordinary power that resonates far louder than words. It carries a weight that forces others to confront the reality of your absence, and in that confrontation, they are left to grapple with their own actions, choices, and behaviors. This silence is not just the absence of noise or conversation, it is a deliberate void, a mirror reflecting their neglect, indifference, or missteps. It is a reminder that the space you once filled, the value you once provided, and the energy you once shared are no longer accessible to them. Silence in this context becomes a teacher. It compels people to sit with themselves, to face their thoughts, and to reflect on what they may have overlooked or taken for granted. When you are constantly present, your presence can become a backdrop to their lives, always there, always available, and therefore often unnoticed. But when you step away, the absence of your voice, your laughter, your support, or even your critique creates a void that cannot be ignored. The sudden quietness forces them to acknowledge the value you brought into their life, a value that they might have disregarded or underestimated when you were near. The power of silence lies in its ability to challenge assumptions. Many people operate under the belief that the people around them will always be there, regardless of how they are treated. This assumption breeds complacency. They assume that forgiveness is infinite, that loyalty is unconditional, and that love or support is unshakable. Your silence disrupts this belief. It challenges the notion that they can continue to take you for granted without consequence. It sends an unspoken message your presence was a privilege, not a guarantee. By choosing silence, you demonstrate that your energy and attention are not theirs to claim indefinitely. They must be earned and respected. Moreover, silence creates space for introspection. In the absence of your voice, others are left alone with their thoughts, unshielded from their own inner dialogue. They begin to wonder why you left, what role they played in your departure, and whether they could have done things differently. This introspection often leads to realizations that would not have been possible in the constant noise of interaction. Silence becomes a catalyst for growth, not just for you, but for them as well. It forces them to take responsibility for their actions and to confront the consequences of their behavior. Your silence also shifts the dynamics of power. In many relationships or interactions, the person who is most vocal or emotionally invested often ends up in a position of perceived vulnerability. By stepping back and choosing silence, you reclaim your power. You are no longer reacting, explaining, or justifying yourself. Instead, you are allowing your absence to speak on your behalf. This shift can be unsettling for those who have grown accustomed to your engagement, as they now have to navigate the relationship or its absence without your input. The balance of power tilts in your favor as you demonstrate that you are in control of your narrative and your energy. Silence can also evoke a sense of curiosity and intrigue. When you stop explaining yourself, stop engaging in conflict, or stop justifying your actions, others are left to fill in the blanks. This ambiguity can be more impactful than any argument or confrontation. They begin to wonder what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and whether they still have a place in your life. This uncertainty often prompts a deeper level of reflection on their part as they try to make sense of your silence and its implications. The emotional impact of silence is profound. For those who have wronged you or taken you for granted, your silence can evoke a mix of regret, guilt, and a newfound appreciation for what they lost. They may replay past interactions in their minds, analyzing their words and actions to understand where things went wrong. This process is not easy for them, but it is necessary. Silence forces them to confront the void left by your absence, a void that no one else can fill in the same way. It is through this void that they begin to see the depth of your contributions and the uniqueness of your presence. Silence is also a tool for protecting your peace. By choosing silence, you are setting a boundary. You are refusing to engage in unnecessary drama, conflict, or negativity. This boundary not only safeguards your mental and emotional well-being, but also communicates to others that you value your peace above all else. It is a form of self-care that allows you to focus on your own growth and healing, free from the distractions of toxic dynamics. Your silence becomes a sanctuary, a space where you can reconnect with yourself and realign with your values. While silence is a powerful form of communication, it is not about playing games or seeking revenge. It is about creating an opportunity for both parties to reflect and grow. Your silence is not meant to punish, but to highlight truths that words often fail to convey. It is a way of saying that you deserve to be treated with respect, that your presence is valuable, and that you will not settle for less than you deserve. Through silence, you assert your worth without uttering a single word. When you withdraw your energy and attention, it creates an undeniable void, one that cannot easily be replaced or ignored. Energy is not just a concept, it is the lifeblood of every interaction, the invisible force that fuels relationships, conversations, and connections. When you invest your energy into someone, you are giving them a part of yourself, your time, your emotions, your thoughts, and your focus. This energy carries weight. It enriches their life in ways they may not fully understand until it is no longer there. The absence of your energy disrupts the flow of what once felt normal or comfortable. People often take for granted the energy you contribute to their lives, assuming it will always be there, unwavering and constant. But energy is not infinite, and it should never be treated as such. When you choose to pull back, the dynamics of the relationship shift dramatically. Suddenly, the warmth, encouragement, or support that your energy provided is missing, and that absence speaks louder than words ever could. It is in this absence that the true impact of your presence is revealed. Energy has a way of shaping the atmosphere around you. Your presence may have brought a sense of calm, excitement, or even purpose to someone's life. When that energy is withdrawn, it leaves a noticeable gap that others cannot help but feel. They may not have consciously recognized the influence of your energy before, but its absence forces them to confront the void you leave behind. This realization often leads to discomfort as they grapple with the changes your departure has caused in their emotional landscape. When you pull back your energy, it is not just about physical absence. It is about emotional and mental detachment. You are no longer engaging in the same way, no longer giving your thoughts, your care, or your emotional investment. This detachment creates a ripple effect, challenging others to reflect on their behavior and the dynamic that existed between you. They are left to wonder why you chose to withdraw. And this introspection often brings to light the ways they may have misused, neglected, or disrespected the energy you once gave so freely. The absence of your energy is particularly impactful because it forces people to face themselves. When you are present, your energy can act as a buffer, softening the edges of their insecurities, shortcomings, or mistakes. Your attention and care may have provided them with a sense of validation or reassurance that masked their own inner struggles, but when you step back, they are left with only their own energy to rely on. This can be a sobering experience as they begin to realize how much they depended on you to fill gaps in their emotional or mental well-being. In some cases, the withdrawal of your energy can lead to a deep sense of regret or loss. People often fail to appreciate what they have until it is gone, and your energy is no exception. They may find themselves yearning for the connection, support, or understanding that your presence brought into their lives. This longing is a powerful reminder of the value you brought to the relationship, a value they may have overlooked or dismissed when you were actively engaged. Pulling back your energy is also an act of empowerment. It is a declaration that you are in control of where and how you invest your time and emotions. This empowerment is not about punishing others, but about protecting yourself. By withdrawing your energy from situations or relationships that drain you or fail to reciprocate, you are prioritizing your own well-being. You are setting boundaries that honor your worth and refusing to give more of yourself than is healthy or sustainable. The absence of your energy often reveals truths that were hidden in plain sight. When you are no longer pouring your energy into someone, their true colors often emerge. Some people may rise to the occasion, recognizing their mistakes and making genuine efforts to rebuild the connection. Others may reveal their inability or unwillingness to value what you bring to the table. Either way, your withdrawal creates clarity, helping you discern who truly deserves your energy and who does not. There is also a transformative aspect to pulling back your energy. It creates space for growth, healing, and self-discovery. This space is not just for you, but also for the other person. In your absence, they are given the opportunity to confront their own patterns, reflect on their actions, and grow from the experience. Whether or not they choose to do so is up to them, but the potential for transformation is undeniable. Your energy is precious, and it is a resource that should be guarded with care. When you pull back, you are making a conscious choice to no longer expend that resource on people or situations that do not honor it. This decision is not an easy one, as it often involves stepping away from connections that once held meaning for you. But it is a necessary step in reclaiming your power and ensuring that your energy is directed toward relationships and endeavors that align with your values and aspirations. The void your absence creates is not just about what is missing, it is also about what remains. It is a statement of your boundaries, a reflection of your priorities, and an invitation for others to either rise to meet you or to step aside. By withdrawing your energy, you are not just protecting yourself, you are reshaping the dynamics around you, fostering growth and self-awareness in both yourself and others. When you decide to step away and create distance, it often leads to a chain reaction of regret in those who once took your presence for granted. Regret is a powerful emotion, one that arises from missed opportunities, neglected relationships, or overlooked contributions. For many, regret is not immediate. It seeps in slowly, taking hold when the absence of your presence begins to be felt in ways they did not anticipate. This regret can be profound, as it forces people to confront not only the reality of your departure, but also their own role in the circumstances that led to it. Regret often stems from realization. People may not have fully understood the value you brought into their lives when you were actively present. Your support, kindness, or simply your availability may have been treated as a given, a constant that required no thought or appreciation. However, your absence removes the comfort of that assumption. The sudden void forces them to recognize just how much you contributed to their well-being, success, or happiness. It is in your absence that they begin to see what they failed to notice or acknowledge when you were there. This realization can be deeply unsettling. It is human nature to assume that what we have today will also be there tomorrow. People often operate under the illusion that relationships, friendships, or partnerships are immune to change. They believe they can neglect or mistreat others without consequence because those people will always remain. Your decision to leave disrupts this illusion, making it clear that no one is obligated to stay in a space where they are not valued. This disruption creates a moment of reckoning where they must face the reality of their own behavior and its impact. The weight of regret is compounded by the understanding that your absence is not just physical, it is emotional and psychological as well. When you were present, your energy and support acted as a stabilizing force, a source of comfort or guidance that they may have relied on without even realizing it. Now, without that energy, they are left to navigate the complexities of their lives on their own. This absence can highlight their own inadequacies, insecurities, or shortcomings, making them painfully aware of how much they relied on you and how little they appreciated it. For some, regret is accompanied by a sense of loss that is difficult to articulate. They may find themselves missing the little things, the way you listened, the encouragement you offered, or the unique perspective you brought to their lives. These small but significant moments take on greater meaning in hindsight as they begin to understand how much those interactions enrich their lives. This sense of loss is a reminder that your presence was not just beneficial but irreplaceable. No one else can replicate the specific energy, love, or care that you brought into their world. Regret also has a way of triggering reflection. In the quiet moments of solitude, they may replay conversations, revisit memories, or analyze the dynamics of your relationship. This reflection can lead to a deeper understanding of their own mistakes, times when they were dismissive, unkind, or neglectful. They may come to see how their actions or lack of actions contributed to your decision to distance yourself. This self-awareness, while painful, is often necessary for growth. It is through regret that they learn the importance of valuing people while they are still present. For some, regret may inspire a desire to make amends. They may feel compelled to reach out, to apologize, or to find ways to reconnect. This urge is born from the realization that they let something precious slip away and a hope that it is not too late to mend what was broken. However, the sincerity of these efforts varies. Some may genuinely seek to repair the relationship, while others may simply want to alleviate their own guilt. Either way, the regret they feel is a testament to the impact you had on their life. Regret is also a reminder of the impermanence of relationships. It teaches people that every connection requires care, effort, and mutual respect. Your absence serves as a lesson not just to them, but also to yourself, that boundaries are necessary and that staying in situations where your worth is not recognized diminishes your value. Through regret, others learn that taking someone for granted is a risk, one that can lead to the irreversible loss of something or someone they once thought would always be there. The emotional weight of regret often lingers, shaping their future interactions and choices. They may approach new relationships with greater mindfulness, striving to avoid the mistakes they made with you. Your absence and the regret it inspires becomes a turning point in their journey, a catalyst for change and self-improvement. Whether they choose to act on that regret or let it fester is up to them, but the experience leaves an indelible mark on their perspective. Your decision to walk away and let your absence be felt is not an act of malice. It is a boundary, a declaration of self-respect, and a reminder that no one is entitled to your presence. The regret others feel is not your burden to carry. It is a reflection of their own actions, a consequence of their failure to value you when they had the chance. Through this regret, they are given the opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become better versions of themselves. When you withdraw yourself from situations or relationships that do not honor your worth, you create space for others to confront the void you leave behind. This void becomes a mirror, reflecting back the reality of their actions, attitudes, and treatment of you. People often operate on autopilot in relationships, assuming that their behavior will be tolerated indefinitely, no matter how dismissive or unkind it might be. Your absence disrupts this cycle, forcing them to take a hard look at the dynamics they have fostered. In doing so, they are compelled to evaluate their own role in the disconnection. This reflection can be uncomfortable and even unsettling for those left in your absence. It brings to the surface feelings they may have avoided or ignored. They are forced to consider questions they may not have thought about before. Why did you choose to walk away? Was there something they did or didn't do that contributed to your decision? What does your absence mean for them and the connection you once shared? These questions create an internal dialogue that challenges them to examine their own behavior and the impact it had on the relationship. The act of walking away is not merely about physical distance, it's about emotional detachment. It is about reclaiming the energy you once invested and redirecting it toward your own growth and well-being. This withdrawal of emotional availability is profoundly impactful because it removes the safety net that others may have taken for granted. They can no longer rely on your presence to validate, comfort, or stabilize them. Instead, they are left to navigate their emotions and circumstances on their own, a process that often reveals the extent to which they depended on you. In many cases, your absence forces people to confront their own patterns of behavior. Perhaps they were dismissive of your feelings, took advantage of your kindness, or failed to reciprocate the energy you consistently poured into the relationship. When you are no longer there to absorb or tolerate these patterns, the consequences of their actions become starkly evident. They may come to realize that their behavior not only pushed you away, but also created the very void they are now struggling to fill. This process of self-confrontation is not always immediate. It takes time for the absence to settle in, for the routine of life without you to expose the gap you once filled. The longer they sit with this void, the more they are forced to grapple with its implications. They may begin to notice how your contributions, support, or presence enrich their lives in ways they never fully appreciated. This growing awareness can lead to regret, frustration, or even a desire to make amends. However, these emotions are part of their journey, not yours, and they are necessary for their own growth and understanding. The mirror of absence is particularly powerful because it reveals truths that were previously hidden or ignored. Without you there to soften the edges or fill in the gaps, they are left with only themselves and their choices. This unfiltered reflection can be a harsh reality to face. It exposes their flaws, mistakes, and oversights in a way that is impossible to ignore. Yet it is through this exposure that the possibility for change and growth emerges. They are given an opportunity to learn from their mistakes and to approach future relationships with greater care and mindfulness. For some, the mirror of your absence may inspire genuine introspection and transformation. They may come to understand the value of what they lost and take steps to ensure they do not repeat the same mistakes in the future. Others, however, may resist this reflection, choosing instead to deflect, deny, or minimize their role in the disconnection. Regardless of their response, the mirror remains a powerful tool for self-awareness and growth. Your decision to step away also serves as a reminder of the boundaries you have set for yourself. It communicates, without words, that you will no longer tolerate being undervalued or mistreated. This assertion of self-worth challenges others to reassess how they engage with you and, by extension, with others in their lives. It creates a ripple effect, encouraging them to reflect not only on your relationship but also on their broader patterns of interaction and connection. In this process, the mirror of absence works both ways. While they are forced to confront their own actions, you are given the opportunity to reflect on your own boundaries, values, and priorities. You gain clarity on what you are willing to accept in relationships and what you are not. This clarity empowers you to move forward with greater confidence and self-assurance, knowing that your worth is not defined by anyone else's inability to see it. Your absence becomes a lesson not just for them, but for yourself as well. It reinforces the importance of valuing your own time, energy, and emotional investment. It underscores the power of setting boundaries and holding others accountable for their actions. Through this process, you reclaim your narrative, shifting the focus from what you have lost to what you have gained, a deeper understanding of yourself and the strength to prioritize your own well-being. When you choose to step away from situations where your presence is undervalued, you assert a powerful form of self-respect that echoes far beyond the initial decision. This choice often inspires a ripple effect that encourages others to reevaluate their own values, priorities, and the way they engage with you and others in their lives. In your absence, they are forced to confront not only the void you leave behind, but also the profound impact of their own choices. This reflection has the potential to shift their mindset, ultimately leading them to understand the importance of mutual respect and appreciation. Stepping away creates an undeniable silence that speaks volumes. It's a silence that cannot be ignored or misinterpreted because it is laden with meaning. The lack of your presence, once taken for granted, becomes conspicuous. In this silence, others are left with their thoughts and the stark reality of your absence. The questions they ask themselves begin to reshape their perspective. Why did you leave? Could things have been different? What does this loss reveal about their actions and values? These questions stir something deep within, forcing them to confront truths they may have avoided when you were present. As time passes, the absence begins to reshape their understanding of relationships. They come to realize that no connection can survive without mutual respect, effort, and understanding. Your withdrawal highlights the imbalance that existed, making it clear that one-sided dynamics are unsustainable. The very act of removing yourself becomes a mirror that reflects the true nature of the relationship. It is this reflection that often triggers a shift in mindset as they begin to understand the importance of valuing those who contribute positively to their lives. This shift is not always immediate. People often resist change until circumstances force them to confront the consequences of their actions. In your absence, they are left to experience life without the support, encouragement, or stability you once provided. This experience is often jarring as it exposes the gap left by your departure. They begin to see how your presence enriched their lives in ways they may have overlooked. Whether it was your kindness, wisdom, or simply your ability to listen, they come to understand that these qualities were not just beneficial, they were essential. The realization of your value leads to a deeper understanding of what it means to respect and appreciate others. They begin to see that relationships are not just about receiving, they are about giving, nurturing, and creating a space where both parties feel valued. This newfound understanding has the potential to reshape their approach to relationships, encouraging them to be more mindful, considerate, and intentional in their interactions. For some, this shift in mindset manifests as a desire to reconnect or make amends. They may feel compelled to reach out, to apologize, or to express gratitude for the role you played in their lives. While these gestures can be meaningful, they are not always guaranteed. What is certain, however, is that your absence has left an indelible mark on their perspective. Whether they choose to act on this shift or not, the lessons learned will influence how they approach future relationships and interactions. This transformation is not limited to their view of you. It extends to their understanding of themselves and their own behavior. In your absence, they are forced to reflect on their patterns, habits, and priorities. They begin to see how their actions or lack thereof contributed to the disconnection. This self-awareness is a crucial step toward personal growth as it allows them to recognize areas where they need to improve. Your decision to step away becomes a catalyst for their evolution, encouraging them to become more self-aware and intentional in their choices. The shift in mindset also has a broader impact, influencing how they view other relationships in their lives. They begin to recognize the importance of valuing and appreciating those who bring positivity, support, and love into their world. They may become more attentive to the needs of others, more willing to express gratitude, and more committed to nurturing their connections. In this way, your absence not only changes their perspective, but also has the potential to improve their interactions with others. While the impact of your absence is profound, it is important to recognize that this transformation is ultimately their journey. Your decision to step away was not about forcing change or teaching a lesson. It was about honoring your own worth and setting boundaries. The shift in their mindset is a byproduct of your choice, a natural consequence of the void you left behind. It is their responsibility to learn from this experience and to use it as an opportunity for growth. As they navigate this process, they may come to see your decision in a new light. What once felt like abandonment or rejection may be understood as an act of self-respect and empowerment. They may come to admire your strength and recognize the courage it took to walk away from something that no longer served you. This understanding has the potential to deepen their respect for you and to inspire them to make similar choices in their own lives.